Hello everyone, welcome to Informatica support videos. This is Devanjan from Informatica MDM support team, and today the topic of the video is different types of custom login mechanism in master data management. We all know that in the master data management, we apart from the legacy login using the username and password of a user, which is registered in the MDM, we have several other mechanism to log into the MDM. So we are going to consolidate all of them in a single uh, PPT so that we can refer it for the future purpose. So the first one is the template based LDAP or Active Directory login. Second one is search based LDAP or Active Directory login. Third one is login without registering user in MDM. Fourth one is single sign on, SP initiated or IDP initiated. So the first one, let's see that one, like template based LDAP or Active Directory login. So very basic this is the very basic one, which is already present here, that is like hub console, IDD configuration page, E360 provisioning tool. All the GUI of MDM supports this template based LDAP or Active Directory login. And for this purpose, you do not need to do, if you are going to use this particular template based login, you really do not need to do any customization, customized Java code or anything like that. It can be done using a simple configuration. So if you just come here, you go to your security providers in hub console, you go to the providers and you take a lock, and you just try to once you take a lock on this particular thing, you just expand the authentication provider. In the authentication provider, you can add a login module. It gives you some templates like the OpenLDAP template, Microsoft AD template, Kerberos template, etc. So you can just have the template. Here you give your LDAP URL, here you give your factory initial, that is the LDAP login module, and like that you can give the direct name of the Active Directory as well, and the exact path of the Active Directory where the user can be found, and that's it. So this can be added to the MDM as a login module, and you can use it to log in using a user which is registered there in that particular Active Directory or LDAP where the what you have configured in the hub console. And once you do that with that particular LDAP username and password, you can log into hub console, IDD configuration page, E360 provisioning tool, everywhere. The next one is it's almost in the same area, but it's little bit different. That is a search based LDAP or Active Directory login. So what is the difference between this template based and the search based? So for this search based LDAP or Active Directory login, there is no way that we can do there is no way that we can do we do not know the exact string where this particular user is situated. That means, let's say that you are dealing with a company which is having employees across all over world. So there is maybe one directory is there in the LDAP which deals with the North American employees, and there is another directory in LDAP which deals with like APAC employees. So you cannot, in the template what we discussed in the previous slide, you cannot really have one particular string that okay, you just append that string and search in that particular area and you will get the user. It is not possible to give. On this kind of scenario, for the LDAP side or Active Directory side, you generally have a service user which is a super user to that, and that particular service user first gets authenticated, and you add once that user gets authenticated, it has a search option. That cannot be used as a business user in MDM or anywhere else. It just has a search option, and it can search your business user, what you have provided the username in the MDM, in all over the LDAP directory, and it finds out the exact location where that particular user is based on, and based on that it populates the string, that total string, and it works like a template based directory what I have shown in the last slide, and it just goes ahead and it try to log into to the user using the MDM. So of course with this approach, you need a Java customization. In the customization code, you need to call that search based. So you need to hard code, or you need to parameterize the search based username and password, that is super username, service username, password, and it will search in the whole LDAP directory or active directory, and there it will find out the business user which the user passed in the MDM GUI to log in. Once it finds that particular user and the proper directory where that particular user is based in their active directory or LDAP, it will just do authenticate the business user as well with the username and password what you are providing in the screen. So this is the reason you need a customization there, and the search and the authentication need to be done by the custom code. Again, as simple as like previous template directory, this is also a very useful thing, and it can be used. The user can log in using this mechanism in the Hub Console, IDD configuration page, E360 provisioning tool everywhere in the screen. The next one is login without registering in MDM. So this is a very corner case scenario, and here we do not register the user in the MDM. That means in this user tab, we will not register the user at all. So like we have the users here, but a couple of users like that will not register here. So that means the user, when you will try to log in using its username and password, he will be authenticated by using the search based LDAP like I showed in the last slide, and then because the user is not present in the MDM, you need to do authorization also outside MDM. So for that purpose, what you need to do is that you need to again query the roles of this particular user to the external system, that is LDAP or Active Directory, and you get the roles of the LDAP or Active Directory for that particular user, and you will have multiple role in MDM, and in your Java code, in your custom code, you need to map the roles from LDAP directory to this Active Directory. For an example, let's say a user Devanjan is present in the LDAP or Active Directory, and it has role as data steward and the management role in the LDAP directory. So what it will do, it will just using a service user, it will authenticate the Devanjan user in the LDAP or Active Directory. After it authenticated that, then it will just read the roles of that particular Devanjan user in the Active Directory, and then it will assign a similar role of MDM in the same Java code, Java customization code, and then you can probably able to log into the MDM. But there is a gap here, like with this particular approach, you cannot really log into Hub Console, provisioning tool, or the IDD configuration page. I mean, like any admin tool, you cannot log in. You can log in only to the E360. So it will have the roles in the Hub Console what you have assigned in the Java custom code, and you need to maintain the mapping somewhere that LDAP role data steward means data steward in Hub Console role also. The third thing is a single sign-on. The single sign-on is again supported only in the E360 screen. In case of single sign-on, you do not see a login page at all. So like when you will click the E360 UI URL on your browser, you will directly get logged in by the user who is already logged in the system. How this works? There are two types of single sign-on which we can support. First one is like SP initiated, and the second one is IDP initiated. What is SP initiated? SP initiated means you hit the URL of the MDM E360 page, and then in your custom code you need to find out you need to capture that particular request, and you need to send the request to the LDAP, sorry, not LDAP, it's a SSO provider URL that is called IDP URL. So which in MDM we call SSO login URL. So you send that particular user to the SSO login URL. SSO login URL understand that particular thing, that the request came from service provider E360 and some user is trying to log in. It will check that in the same machine, in the same laptop, if there is already a user logged in then it will just pass that particular username as a SAML response, or any, if you are not using SAML, if you are using OAuth, it will just send as a OAuth response as well. And it will redirect to again to the E360 login. And in the E360 login, you need to capture that particular response. And in that response, you will have the username either in encoded or encrypted format. You need to decrypt that by using the key store aliases, whatever it is needed based on your business use case. Once you have the particular user, then you look for the user role in the MDM. You assign the role of that particular user, whatever is configured in the MDM database, and the user will be logged into the E360 screen. So this is what SP initiated thing. So it has a handshake thing, like first your custom code which will be sitting on the E360 MDM configuration will read the request, and it will redirect it to the SSO provider. And after that, it will come back, the SSO provider will send back to MDM with a SAML response or the SSO response. And from that response, your custom code has to take the user name, and then you will allow the user to log in based on the roles he has configured, he has in the MDM. The next one is IDP initiated. The IDP initiated is pretty simple. Here in this scenario, MDM really doesn't do a redirect to the SSO login URL or the IDP URL. So MDM always expects that any request come to MDM will have a parameter which will have the username either in plain text or in encrypted or in uh, encoded format. So in that scenario, what all you need to do is that you need to just capture the particular parameter, and then you just decode it the username. Rest of the thing is same like SP initiated, like you assign the roles of that particular user in your Java code, and you will be able to log into the E360 so to see the whatever the roles the particular user has, it can be used to log into the E360 screen. So again, single sign-on is only supported in the E360 as of now. Any admin tool, provisioning, hub console, or IDD configuration is not supported. So these are the all thing what we had here. And please go through the Informatica KB portal and set up all the related information and the sample codes. For everything we have the sample code in the KB and the KB article for that. And we would love to hear from you. Thank you.